Hi guys, John Florez again. You can tell I'm at Mary's house sitting, and I've been here for about a month and I got bored. But during the time that I got bored, Gateway College started back up and I started traveling the state again. And as you know, when I travel, I usually take the Toyota Prius, and that sound system really is crisper and cleaner than mine in my vehicle. So when I remaster my tracks, I have three comparison systems. One here at the computer with a really nice multi-$100 sound system. Then I go into the car, which has a kind of bulky, mean sound to it, which is interesting, and I'm used to it. And then you go to the Prius, which is crisp, clear, maybe a little too bright, but just delightful. So this has been my reference for the last 3 or 4 years of doing the remasters. I listen at all three locations and I adjust accordingly. But what happened on a trip for Gateway, 3 weeks ago, is that the Prius wasn't available. And they gave me a brand new SUV, Ford SUV, that didn't have a CD system in it. But oh my, well, I'll figure this one out. So I ordered from Amazon a cheap CD player that arrived at the location that I was working, and it was not able to connect to Bluetooth in the vehicle, but it did connect to my really nice little Bluetooth stereo speaker. So I started playing my remasters and I was appalled. Everything sounded overly compressed. Everything sounded, particularly the snare drum, that power snare that I'm so proud of, that has all this high end and low end on it and tons of echo. So it's almost a David Foster-like snare. Sounded like it was all low end and big and boomy. I'm going to show you that in a second. And then too much compression, and it's terrible. So I got to the motel room again and I Bluetoothed to my tablet and I played the same cut direct from YouTube, from this site, into the small little Bluetooth speaker, and you're going to hear what that sounds like. So still it sounds wrong. Now granted, you're hearing this over the Logitech camera's microphone, which is not so hot, but you'll hear that everything sounds phony on these two cheap systems. So I want to call this episode Cheap Seats. I had never played my work on cheap systems before, nor did I think there would be a difference playing with CD players to small speakers. Or let me use this as an example. They sent me out again a week later in a van with a Ford van, cheap CD system in the van. And it sounded similar. And here I am with big speakers and it's sounding overly compressed and boomy on the low end, particularly the snare. Just, oh my goodness. So I've always been in, I hate to say this, the high-priced seats. And I have a 23-year-old singer friend of mine back east and her family that we've been in touch throughout a year or so. And she was saying, I like your masters better before you really power mastered them, John. That's a paraphrase, but that's what she said basically. And I couldn't understand why. Well, if you're not listening really high end to my stuff, it's gonna suck. My remasters are gonna suck. So yes, I can make some adjustments. I can back off some of the compression. I tried going way back to where I put in the snare samples, and it's just not worth doing. I'm sorry, it's not worth doing just for low-end systems. I'm sorry, it's just too much work to go that far back in time and start all over again. So what I do want to show you before I check out of here and say bye-bye, here you go. Here's a sample from the cheap CD player playing through a wireless speaker, the way I would hear it in a room through this camera microphone. Here you go.
You can leave me, believe me, some memories. You can leave me.
And now here's the tablet, direct from YouTube, digitally to the same speaker. You're hearing it over the microphone again.
You can
hear how big, and I'm sorry, big's the wrong word, hear how boomy and low end and fake it all sounds? It's overly compressed, it's awful. And now here's the digital sample that I play on my high-end system. So here you go with this.
You can leave me, believe me, some memories. You can leave me, believe me, not right.
And now I'll play all three back to back. Here you go.
You can leave me, believe me, some memories. You can leave me, believe me, some memories. You can leave me, believe me, some memories.
Okay guys, so I made some adjustments. You're going to see a whole group of remasters underneath this video, and I've done those to somewhat compensate for what you just heard. Not completely, but enough to make me happier that it will sound better on more systems, high end and lower end. And that's something that, gosh, it's 52 years since I made my first record, Grazing in the Grass, for RCA Records in 1968. And it's taken me this long to figure that before I release things, I should listen low end as well. And that's a really cool lesson that I thought I'd share with you. Hope you guys are all doing great. Let me know what you think, and you guys take care. Okay? Bye-bye.